We fall into the what if trap a lot. What if this happens? What if that happens? And then what we end up doing when we find ourselves in the what if trap is freaking out. We get anxious about it. We may not talk about it. Some of us do. But a lot of times it's that internal pressure cooker. You just feel like your insides are just gonna erupt. Anxiety is a real thing that everyone has come across at some point in time in their life. You're probably even watching this to escape the reality of the anxieties that you're feeling right now. But in this video, we're gonna talk about what it is, what it isn't, and the tips to help you overcome it when it happens. And that's gonna start now. Do I look like you?
Yeah, make this look real good.
Now, I want to make a quick disclaimer that when talking about anxiety, I'm not referring to GAD. If you are someone who struggles with an anxiety disorder, then this video is not for you. This video is for those individuals who struggle with everyday situational anxiety. Now, there's different types of anxiety out there. Like I mentioned, that there's one that's a little bit more diagnosed. And there's others that are what I call situational anxiety. Some deal with seasonal anxiety. Some deal with the inability to transition. Anxiety is a part of this overarching humanity. It's one of the things that we do need to overcome when we have the tools and resources to actually overcome it. First, let's kind of like highlight some of the warning signs. But number one, a perpetual sense of worrying. Worrying literally means the strangling, the choking. The etymology of the word goes back to an old Germanic word that means to strangle. This perpetual sense of worrying is literally choking the life out of you. A second sign is perpetual irritability. You're wound so tight that you just take it out on whoever is in front of you. And the last is this irrational fear. Like everything triggers it. I'll give you an example about mine, but not right now. Now, there's a difference between stress and anxiety. Stress is triggered by an external force, and oftentimes that can be your work environment, your home environment, your school environment. Things of that nature trigger stress. Anxiety is your response to said stress. Stress is going to happen. It's going to be triggered by something outside of your control. But it will inevitably get you to ask a question that you should not be asking. And it is, what if? What if? That what if question can be extremely detrimental to your progress. Because the what if is reaching out to a situation outside of your control. Outside of the realm of reality. It's taking you from this present moment to a future moment that you have no control over. So be wary of when stress hits, that you start asking yourself a question that's going to trigger even more stress. And that is, what if? You're going to worry. There's going to be some irrational fear involved in there. And it's going to get you mad, emotional. It's going to make you work a lot. And sometimes it'll be wasted work, a work that doesn't need to be done because it's not even real. So here are 3 tips to deal with anxiety when it does come. Number 1, watch your intake. Believe it or not, the way that our bodies are designed is whatever you take in is ultimately going to affect the way that you respond to things. It's in our nature. Am I talking diet? Yes. Am I talking keeping things away from you? Yes. What I'm saying is that the more junk you take in, the more junky you're going to feel. Here's one thing that can not help an anxious individual, and that's caffeine. If you think that you're feeling anxious and then you're going to grab yourself the nearest Monster drink or Red Bull or Bang, that stuff is going to amp you up. The amount of caffeine in that thing is going to have you all sorts of wired, and you're going to be wondering yourself, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Whatever, bam. You're going to blow up. Don't blow up. Watch your intake. Number 2, exercise. The reality is that we have to move. We have to take our energy and put it elsewhere. And we're not talking like an extreme workout. I'm not talking like you got to work out 45 minutes, an hour. You got to hit the gym. You got to clang and bang, right? Like, I'm not saying that, but move. Go for a little walk. Go for a little stroll. Do something that you like, but get out. Don't just sit in the stress. Actually use some motion to like filter through that stress. Number 3, you got to meditate, man. I'm not talking some like new agey meditation where you lock yourself in a hot sauna and start stretching in ungodly like positions. No, I'm saying like just stop for a second, man. Stop, take a breath, relax, and then contemplate on something outside of that. Take yourself outside of that situation. I have what I call my happy place. It's this little island called Barbados. Oh yeah, when I get stressed, all I do is close my eyes and go, Chefette, rotis, blue ocean, Barbados. Look at that. Just that. Just get yourself somewhere. Now here's the big thing about meditation. Meditation becomes the counter to rumination. You don't want to ruminate on stuff. Now, a lot of my Catholic friends make the mistake of saying to themselves, I'm feeling anxious, so I'm going to go find the nearest adoration chapel and I'm going to sit with my thoughts. Yes, our God is present, but if you're going to go sit with your thoughts, you better sit with something like a rosary, like Lectio Divina, something. But don't sit with your thoughts. You're going to end up leaving with those thoughts. If you're going to go in, it's got to be about Jesus. That means that you leave your thoughts at the altar and then you meditate on him. Period. Anxiety's tough. We deal with it. I myself deal with it. I deal with it. There was this one time, it was Hurricane Matthew that was coming up the East Coast and was supposed to go back into sea, and it didn't. It didn't even hit as a category 1. It hit as a tropical storm, but it just sat over our area for a long time. We didn't think it was going to hit. We ended up going to church. We were in a van. It was my family, my wife, my 2 kids, in a van when the torrential downpouring happened, and it didn't stop. Before we knew it, we got caught up in like a flash flood situation. Our van stalled. Water started making itself in. We had to take the kids out, pick them up, trudge through water, get ourselves home. You know, every time it rains, I have to deal with this reality of this anxiety that rain provokes, this stress that it provokes. And a lot of times I end up responding anxiously. Like, what if I would have done this or done that? And I get caught so much in it that I have a physical reaction. It's not freeing. It is completely exhausting to live like that. It strangles the life out of you. In Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 through 7, it reads this: Have no anxiety about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will keep your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. This is easier said than done, but I can, to a certain extent, guarantee that if you can follow these tips, then your response to stress is not going to be as anxious as it used to be. The stressful situation will always happen, but anxiety doesn't have to. We can choose how we respond. Be patient with yourself, love on yourself, but completely rely on a God who, if you approach with praise and thanksgiving and supplication that he will do for you. He will give you the peace that surpasses any other peace. Anxiety is tough when you're dealing with it. But our God, he's bigger than that. And he created you to be bigger than that. He created me to be bigger than that. So let's answer that invitation to be bigger than those feelings, those emotions, those responses. This is your boy 210, and this was just a moment. Ooh, Bob. Yo, Bob. I'm gonna drop a beat, and you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna spit some fire, bro. Ready? I don't beatbox, bro, and you ain't doing nothing. Seriously, you like rappers nowadays. It's just all looks. It's all looks. Look at you. Like a prep school Eminem. You are the embodiment of Carlton's dance from the Fresh Prince. You are all mug and no me. You are the who in my tag. I'm the big, you the pun. Got him! Did I? No?